What is up, guys? The Philly Fly Show is back in action. My mic is a little too close to my face. A lot of things have happened to me in this past couple weeks, y'all. I cannot get my mic to work the same way. All right, y'all. New updates here. Oh man, it's really bad. I got a new chair. I got a gaming chair finally, y'all. I got a chair that sits in my desk, actually, swivels around, does the right thing. My back is felt the best it's ever felt. Oh, just big things have been coming to the Philly Fly Show. Today I was gonna start the live stream. Now everyone's like, why? People I've talked to are like, why you start a live stream? I'm not into the live stream. Blah 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 blah. It isn't about the live stream. I'm sick of this black screen. I've wanted to turn this into something a little bit more than what I've been doing for the last 5 years. I've been doing this podcast, and I have only done the black screen. My setup is not the best. I'm running on this super old computer that I'm literally borrowing from a buddy. I'm borrowing his mic. I borrowed everything. It's time to put this thing in motion and do everything that I wanted. But I was doing some test trials this morning on this computer, and unfortunately, I just don't think I can perform on this computer. I don't think I can do what I want to do on this computer. I was hoping to get out, like you seeing my arrangement, my sitting area, how I sit, how I research stuff, just having a more eyes-on approach, and even doing a little bit of like those PowerPoint style things is what I was trying to work on here. It didn't work out to what I want. I just think my items that I have for the setup are just not going to be in the current state. So I'm going to work on something. Maybe it won't be out next week like I've been trying, but I'm for sure going to get the Twitter/X/Facebook Instagram page all set up here for the Philly Fly Show. Right now, it's under my personal one. If you really want to come and look at it, I don't have anything up for the Philly Fly Show. I don't do anything for the Philly Fly Show but post this podcast. So that's very unfortunate, and I'm already 2.5 minutes into talking to this, and people are like, "Oh, dude, what's your podcast about?" Or people checking in, like, "What's this about? Why am I listening to this?" Listen, y'all. The Philly Fly Show does UFC picks. We're a big UFC guy, big UFC show. Everything is UFC. I used to do an NFL show, but unfortunately, when I was putting the time and the research, it took away from this show. It literally did. I didn't put the effort in. I didn't even want it. Like, for the last 6 months, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I haven't wanted to do shows. I want to quit this podcast stuff. But something in me just burns for this UFC stuff, and the way I pick, and the way I look at betting and gambling, and the way I am about it. I'm bringing some stuff here to the Philly Fly Show. It's not just going to be about UFC anymore. There is a secret that I'm not going to announce today, but let's just say it gets into more gambling. If you catch my drift, I'm going to jump down the gambling road here soon, but I got to get the right setup. I got to get back on my feet. I was in a car accident 6 months ago that kind of financially just has set me so far back, and I've keep pushing it off, and here we are. Still talking about myself. Let's just jump into it. UFC Philly Fly Show is back. We got UFC Fight Night. Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Ribas. Fight number 2. Now, the first time the decision went to Amanda Ribas. Ribas is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu judo fighter. So Mackenzie Dern is BJJ. Now, those might equalize each other out in this fight. I will admit that. We're jumping kind of into the main event. I'm going to give you a little tease, and then we're going to jump into the card and the bets and the way we are going to win the average Joe some money. That's what this show is here for. That's what I do. Make you some money, because, look, guys, there's guys out here, professionals, that are like, "Oh, you're going to pick this pick, and it's not going to lose." And like minty bets and a couple other. I don't like those guys, man. For whatever reason, I think they throw you down the rabbit hole and make you lose bets. I have kind of paid attention to this. I have a site that I like that's got more average Joes in it. But the problem with that site is it's on Facebook. There's a lot of haters on there, so that's one of the downfalls. But the guy who runs it is just a hater. Like, hater of all teams. If it ain't his team, it ain't good. And he just runs his mouth too much for me to sit there and listen to it. You guys can go look at the page if you want, but that's kind of what I want to flip mine to the other side. I'm not that type of hater. I might hate on guys that I don't like, but I'm not like the type of hater where it's like, my guy's the best, and that's it, and you can't tell me no, and it's never going to... Yeah, just craziness. So, again, this card, though, unfortunately, if you're looking for ranked fighters or people that you super know, you're not going to find it on here, guys. A lot of prospects for the first fight card of the year. But I think this is a money-making card. So let's jump into it. I'm already too far along here. We're going to jump into match leg number 14. It is a lightweight male fight between Naroa Oliva and Joe Solecki. Now, Joe Solecki, he's got somewhat of a name, but this is the upcoming prospect, and Oliva has got an MMA skill set that you will undoubtedly fall in love with. Oliva is a negative 850 favorite, whereas Joe Solecki's plus 500 underdog. Look, Oliva is not losing this fight. Unfortunately, Joe Solecki, just his skill set's not going to match up against Oliva. Oliva's going to take him out, and I'm not going to say a finish, but it's going to be a brutal beatdown, I think. 4 out of 5 on the confidence that Oliva gets his hand raised after the fight. Match leg number 13 is a strawweight female fight. It is Fahima versus Klein versus Victoria Dubovoka. Now, Dubovoka's got some crazy kickboxing skill set, but her gas tank lacks a little, and she's not the best against grappling. Klein, literally, her background is grappling. So that's why I think it's going to be a bad fight for Dukabova. I think Klein gets a win, but I'm not super confident on this fight. I'm only 2 out of 5 on the confidence level that Klein gets her hand raised. All right, match leg number 12. We are running through this really fast already. Man, I got a lot of energy for this. Match leg number 12 is a light heavyweight fight between Magomedov Gaziluvov versus Bruno Lopez. Now, Magomedov is a negative 275 favorite, and Bruno's a plus 225 underdog. Bruno is just too much of a upcoming prospect to have a good enough skill set to beat Magomedov. Magomedov, man, he's well-rounded. Very, very well-rounded. Grappling, striking, gas tank, it's all there. He's going to get a W. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level that Magomedov gets his hand raised. All right, match leg number 11 is a flyweight female fight between Ernesta Kaudakate and Nicole Kalahari. Now, Nicole's a plus 210 underdog. Ernesta's a negative 260 favorite. Ernesta does not have... They both don't have a lot of MMA fights, but Nicole has a little bit more, and she has a little bit more UFC fights. I think that experience in the UFC cage is going to be power mental for Nicole. That plus 210 is looking very spicy out there. I'm picking Nicole to get her hand raised after the fight. Not super confident on it, but 1 out of 5 on the confidence here that she gets her hand raised. That's not a bad one to put on a parlay if you want to get some better odds on there. Now, I'm not going to be one of these people who will tell you, don't parlay, only single bet. That's the only way to win, and blah, blah. Granted, it is an easier way to win. You don't have as many, when you have a lot of legs and stuff on a parlay, that's when it makes it hard. But my scenario on parlays is a little different than my scenario for single picks, especially when you're picking fights. A lot of times the fights is 50-50. When you're picking the money line on it, the odds aren't going to be in your favor. So sometimes you have to parlay. Sometimes to get your money up there, you have to take a risk. Sometimes to win money, scared money don't make money. So remember that one, y'all. Kalahari, hand raise, 1 out of 5 on the confidence level. She gets her hand raised. All right, jump into the match leg number 10 here is a welterweight fight between Preston Parsons and Jacoby Smith. It's a welterweight bout. Preston Parsons is a plus 450 underdog, whereas Jacoby's a negative 725 favorite. I think this fight's a little closer than what they put on paper. Jacob is a MMA prospect making his UFC debut. He has fought in Dana White's Contender Series, but Preston Parsons, man, he's had a roller coaster of a career. He's got some good wins, but he's also got some bad losses. So I see why the odds makers made it this way, but I also think it should be a little closer. I think Jacob should be more like a negative 325 favorite. But I'm going to take Jacob with a negative 725, and it's a 3 out of 5 on the confidence that he gets his hand raised. If you don't understand the confidence thing, why I put this out here, guys, it's a 1 out of 5 rating. I pretty much bet 3s and above on it when I put a parlay together. Sometimes I have to mix it up because I put so many 3s, 4s, and 5s, but this one, the prospects, it's a little closer. So do what you will, do what you want. It's your life, it's your bets. Choose what you want. I'm just giving you advice. All right, match flag number 9, Thiago Moraes versus Trey Ogden. Now, Thiago Moraes has got a great resume in fights, man. Fought some killers, lost to some killers, beat some killers, lost his ranking, trying to get back in there. Lightweight division, if you all know, is the deepest division to get a ranking in, so it's very hard to stay in there, especially when you're not super active. Trey Ogden has got some phenomenal wins under his belt and some phenomenal fights, but Thiago Moraes' skill set is just too much, I think, for him. I'm going to take Thiago Moraes with that negative 180 and 3 out of 5 on the confidence level that he gets his hand raised after this fight. Let's go, Thiago. Get back in the win column. All right, match leg number 8 is Marco Tullo versus Ihor Potieria. Now, it's a middleweight fight. Marco's a negative 575 favorite, whereas Ihor is a plus 385 underdog. Do not look at the odds on this one and say that Ihor is not a good fighter. He might have a bunch of losses and some bad ones, but the guy is a dog. He brings the fight every time, and he's always in it. There's never a time he's not in the fight, even when he's just being dominated. His power's there. He's always walking forward, and he's just ready. He is ready. So that's a bet. That usually spells bad for guys, but I'm going to go with Marco here. I just think that Marco gets it done. Ihor might be one of those fighters. He might be just a perfect gatekeeper. Just a perfect gatekeeper, but I'm going to go Marco here, but I'm not confident on 1 out of 5 that he gets his hand raised after the fight. All right, featured prelim bout, which means the last prelim bout of the fight. Flyweight fight between Jose Johnson and Felipe Bunes. Felipe is a plus 155 underdog, whereas Jose is a negative 185 favorite. Very close fight between these prospects. Jose has struggled against guys who got the same skill set as him. So that kind of showed me that I wanted to go on the underdog side, but just going back, looking at his wins, looking at a couple fights of his, I'm going Jose all day. Just all day, but it's not very confident because these guys are very close to the skill set. Could go either way. 1 out of 5 on the confidence level that Jose gets his hand raised. All right, we jump into the main card. What we're all here for, making some money. Let's go. It's 6 fights on the main card. I'm ready. Let's get it. Start with a welterweight fight between Peniel Soriano and Uros Medic. Now, this is such a good fight. On paper, it looks good. Everything is just fire. Soriano's kind of been a slacker lately, whereas Medic's just like, get me into the rankings, get me a ranked fight. I'm ready to fight. Uros is a negative 220 favorite, and Soriano's a plus 185 underdog. What it came down to for me is power behind the strikes and the combinations, and Soriano's kind of had a bad gas tank, but he's been working on it. In his camp, they've specifically said that's kind of been his downfall. So it's good that he's worked on that. I just think the power is going to be too much for Medic. I think he takes a bad shot from Soriano. I think Soriano gets a finish and gets a W. Not super confident on it, but I'm going with my gut feeling. Sometimes you just got to put it out there, even if you're wrong. So I'm going Soriano with the win and a finish if you want to make even more money on a single bet. Take the plus 180, but only 1 out of 5 on the confidence level. Soriano gets his hand raised after that fight. Don't miss that fight, y'all. Do not miss that fight. That's a don't blink banger. All right. Match leg number 5 is a featherweight bout between Christian Rodriguez and Austin Bashi. Now, Christian has some unbelievable wins when he is just not supposed to win. He has shown me that he has got the skill set to be in the UFC and be a contender in the UFC. I'm not saying Bashy can't, but this is Bashy. Bashy's a 13-0 fighter, coming off Dana White's Contender Series, has never fought a guy like Christian Rodriguez. Just up-and-coming prospects, yes, they can sometimes get good, easy fights, but this is not an easy fight for him. I don't see him getting a win. Bashy is a negative 265 favorite. Christian Rodriguez plus 215. Christian Rodriguez is not losing this fight. If I am wrong, I have totally overlooked a 13-0 fighter, but I've gone back and looked at both their fights, man. It's Christian Rodriguez all day, dude. That dude is so good at striking. His grappling defense is as top-notch as it can be for his skill set. But he gets his hand raised. He gets the W. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level that Rodriguez gets his hand raised. The experience is just going to be way too much for Bashy. Way, way too much. You heard it here. Put it on anything. Christian getting that hand raised, baby, after that fight. Match leg number 4 is a middleweight fight. It's another decent fight. Chris Curtis versus Roman Kopylov. Kopilov's a negative 235 favorite. Chris Curtis plus 190. Chris Curtis loses this fight, man. He might be out the UFC, unfortunately. I don't want to see it. I like Chris Curtis, but he loses this fight. It's done for him. But Roman wins this fight. It's just going to keep trajecting his trajectory up to this ranking system. Needs to get in there. Needs a good fight after this if he gets his hand raised. 3 out of 5 on the confidence that Roman gets his hand raised after this fight. All right, match leg number 3 is another middleweight fight between Cesar Almeida and Abdul Hazak Alhansen. Now, Abdul's a plus 220 underdog. Cesar's negative 270 favorite. Look, man, Abdul has got 4 wins after he gets a knockdown in 4 fights, but I don't see that happening, man. Just Cesar is going to be just too good for Abdul. Abdul's power is great, but the gas tank lacks, whereas Cesar's gas tank is not going to be lacking. Cesar gets his hand raised, but I do think it's a close fight, so I'm only doing 1 out of 5 on the confidence level. That means if you want to bet this fight, it's at your own risk. But man, I don't see Abdul getting it. I just don't at all. Co-main event of the evening is not a bad fight, but it goes to show you how deep even the welterweight division in the ranking system. Santanigo Ponzinibbio versus Carlston Harris. Carlston Harris plus 115 underdog. Ponzinibbio negative 135. I don't like the odds on Pons, man. Why is he not an underdog? Like, dude is like 1-5 in his last fights. Has fought killers, yes, but just has not produced enough. He's just not produced enough in his fights. He comes out, starts out good, but then it goes downhill really south. And Carlston Harris he's got some losses too, but he's got some good W's, man. Very, 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 very good. So this was a hard one for me. So I went underdog with Carlston Harris at that plus 115. Not to just pick an underdog, but I just like Carlston Harris's skill set. Pons, like I said, for some reason when he faces another guy that's got good MMA skill set, he just slouches a little bit. So let's see if he's got it. Let's see if he gets back in the win column. But I'm going Carlston Harris with a W, 1 out of 5 on the confidence level. He gets his hand raised. Now, makes us here for our main event of the evening. I'm going to try to get this done kind of quick, guys. The podcast ran a little long because the beginning I had to talk about, my life and get some things out there and show you guys that I'm back into this and back into making you some money. But Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Ribas 2. Number 6, Mackenzie Dern versus number 8, Amanda Ribas. Amanda Ribas is a negative 195 favorite, whereas Mackenzie Dern is a plus 165 underdog. I love where Mackenzie Dern has brought her game. Yes, she's got some L's. A lot of the L's is because she's been working on her stand-up. But the problem is she left the camp. I'm pretty sure she was in Trevor Whitman's camp for striking, and then she left there, and you can tell the difference from when she left her striking coach. She was working on it for so long, and wanted to get back to the grappling, so she went back to her grappling gym. It's just not been the same striking. Now, I'd love for her to get back with Trevor Whitman, but I just don't know if that's going to happen. Because both these girls can grapple, I think it's going to be a stand-up fight. And on the edge, that's why Amanda Ribas has the negative 195 favorite, because her striking is very good. But Mackenzie Dern, man, I want her to mix it up a little bit this fight. I want her to grapple a little bit. I want her to strike. I want her to get a big, big W here, because she's got it to be champion. It's just she's got to put it together, man. Sometimes it takes a bit to put it together. So I'm going to go Mackenzie Dern with that plus 165. Man, it's a close one. So 1 out of 5 on the confidence that she gets her hand raised. Look, man, gun to my head, y'all, because I'm just going to throw it out there. It's not one I'm going to record. But if you're looking for a parlay, I'll throw one together here for you. I'm not going to throw it on paper, but I'll throw it out here last minute thing for you. Might be my new feature if I really like it. So let's go Nuro Aliyev with his negative 850. And then we're going to go Jacoby Smith with his negative 725. And then hit up Christian Rodriguez with that plus 215. And then hit up Mackenzie Dern with that plus 165. That should get you some very, very plus money on your parlay. And let's go, guys. Let's win some monies. Let's take it to the sports book this week. All right, y'all. Philly Fly Show is going to check out. Shout out to Right Way Production Studios for always making this happen. I'm blanking on his other business name, but just look it up, y'all. Just look up Right Way Productions. You'll find it. And Right Way Production Studios is brought to you by the Philly Fly Show, too. So, peace out, y'all, and I will see y'all next week. We got a big, big card next week. Dracus Du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. And I can't remember the co-main event off the top of my head, so we're not going to say it. Shout out, y'all. Hit up, share with your buddies, and I will share with you the X/Twitter page when it's finished here later this week. Peace out, y'all.